around about verse 20. And so we'll give you time to get there. 47 around verse 20. Again, we're still looking at family problems. Just to recap, we remember that Joseph had his brothers now. They've come to meet him. They brought back dad. In the last study, Jacob had came in and blessed Pharaoh, which was a powerful piece because Egyptians looked at Pharaoh as a god, but Pharaoh obviously and Joseph reduced the people to servitude. Now, that word reduced, that's a powerful word. So here these people trusting us to lead in the right way. I always say, says he did not buy the land of the priests because they received a regular allotment from Pharaoh and had food enough from the allotment Pharaoh gave them. that is why they did not sell their land. That's a powerful piece. You know, sometimes people be asking questions, well, why does the bishop, why does the priest, why does the pastor do this or do that? Because you can see this in Old Testament as well. Even when Nehemiah came back to build the wall, the priests were told to for the church and the people there to bless them so they could concentrate on hearing from God and giving their services unto God. And so the priest, he did not buy their land, which that's key. He did not buy their land of the priests because they received a regular allotment. So Pharaoh was sowing into the priests, and so they had an allotment that Pharaoh gave them. That's why they did not sell their land. So they had it. You know, they didn't have to get into this position, and so that's a good thing to think about, that God was still taking care of those in that time. Let's look at the next verse. Because they did not have money anymore, right? They ran out of money. They ran out of livestock. They sold that. They sold their land and they sold themselves, right? So now that I bought you and your land today for Pharaoh, right? Here is the seed for you so you can plant in the ground. So again, they didn't have any seed. And so he says, I bought you, and now for Pharaoh, here is a seed so you can plant it in the ground. And we talked last week, man, maybe that's too hard, man. Maybe he kind of needed to break the rules. I mean, you know, enough is enough. That seems kind of harsh. But we talked about before that God has entrusted us to do a job, right? And again, sometimes, and I was transparent with my life kind of growing up, that sometimes I got a little too soft-hearted for people. They come through and it cost me some things that, you know, end up losing a job because I was trying to help someone out. And that was a little summer job, but it taught me a lesson that, you know, if you're working for someone, make sure that you honor God in a way as if you're working directly for him. That's exactly what happened with Joseph. Now that I bought you and your land today for Pharaoh, here is a seed for you to plant. So he gave a seed back for them to plant. And so, powerful piece. Let's look at the next one. But when the crop comes in, right, he gave him a seed, but then he says, when the crop comes in, give a fifth of it to Pharaoh. Man, that Joseph is a good steward. You know, give a fifth of it to Pharaoh, and so the other four fifths you may keep as a seed for the field and as food for yourselves and your household and your children. So when the crop come in, give a fifth to Pharaoh, but then again, keep some for yourself, and that's why I love that, because again, he is also teaching them that's their tenth, that's their tithe, right? I want you to understand, here's a seed, but on this seed, you have to turn around and be able to make sure you give a fifth of it to Pharaoh, right? So again, but there's enough food for yourselves and your household and your family to continue. So he's setting a standard of fifth for Pharaoh, right? I love that. Don't get a fifth for Pharaoh, fifth for me, fifth for Pharaoh, right? And the other four fifths you may keep as a seed for your field. So again, he is giving them a chance to get things back going, but again, he's always taking care of Pharaoh, right? That's key. Okay, let's look at verse 25. You have saved our lives, they said, right? You've saved our lives. May we find favor in the eyes of our Lord, right? We will be in bondage to Pharaoh, right? So again, they're really happy that he saved their lives. So he saved their lives, and now he's saying that because of that, man, we owe you. We owe Pharaoh, but it all started when God sent him from where he was to go before his siblings, and he was the one that God put in place to be able to bless the people, right? And again, he went through some difficulties to get where he was, but again, we see now that sometimes, even though God is blessing you, he has an assignment for you. Listen, nobody else may have knew what was inside of him, but God did. God knew what was in him, and God gave him wisdom to do what he's doing right now. So when you look at people with a fantastic mind and they're super intelligent and all that comes from God. God gives that ability, and here it is, right? They said, man, thank you. You saved our lives. May we find favor in the eyes of our Lord, right? They're talking about him, right? We will be in bondage to Pharaoh, right? It don't sound like they're complaining about it. They knew they were in a bad spot, right? And sometimes when you just have to be honest, right? It was nothing that they done to cause this famine to come. They knew that they were in bondage to Pharaoh, and because of it, they were really thankful, right? So it wasn't any resentment and all of that. It was one that said, "We understand you saved our lives," because he was a good manager, right? A good manager of resources. A good manager of resources will have food and supplies years to come. When you're not managing resources well, you'll be in a bad, dry place. So he managed it well. Let's look at verse 26. So Joseph established it as a law concerning the land in Egypt, still in force today. The law that Joseph established is still in force today, that a fifth of the produce belonged to Pharaoh, right? Still in existence today, that a fifth of the produce belongs to Pharaoh. It was only the land of the priests that did not become Pharaoh's, right? So whatever they have still to this day, a fifth goes to Pharaoh. But the priests, right? Only the priests' land do not belong to Pharaoh. Okay? All right, let's keep going. Now the Israelites settled in Egypt in the region of Goshen, right? They acquired property there, were fruitful and increased greatly in number. Now we remember it was Joseph's siblings, right? They're the Israelites, right? They settled in the region of Goshen, right? They acquired property there. They were fruitful and increased greatly enough. So the word fruitful and increased, right? They're in the same sentence. They were fruitful and they increased greatly in number. So God was blessing them. Their families were growing. They were having kids, and they were expanding. And so they started out as sons, uh, wives, grandchildren, and so now, right, they're steady growing in number. Now sons and daughters are having kids, and so so now, right, what was my son? He has kids, and now my son who had kids, their kids now are having kids. So they're really growing at a rapid pace because God had a plan for them. Okay, let's look at the next verse. Jacob lived in Egypt 17 years. So you remember when he showed up and Pharaoh asked, how old are you? Right? I believe the scripture said he was 130 or so years old. And so now, right, he has lived 17 more years. When he showed up, right, man, how old are you? He told him, hey, I've had some difficult days, right? He was talking like a man that knew his time was just about up. But here he is, done lived another 17 years, right? Can I share with you sometimes, right? Sometimes we think we're about to ride off into the sunset, but you will be surprised. God can do amazing work even when we think we're past our time, right? When we think our time is up, I need to find somebody else, right? Until our time is up, right? God can still use you and use me for His glory. 17 more years did He live there, right? And the years of His life were, years of life was 147, right? He showed up, he was 130, 17 more years. Here he is, 147 years old, right? God has kept His hand on them, and He's letting them see His family continue to grow, right? Let's look at the next point. When the time drew near for Israel to die, right? Remember Jacob's name was changed to Israel. So now it was time. You remember Jacob was Isaac's son. Isaac was Abraham's father. So now Israel, who was Jacob, the text says, when the time drew near for Israel to die, he called for his son Joseph and said to him, if I found favor in your eyes, put your right hand under my thigh and promise that you will show me kindness and faithfulness. Do not bury me in Egypt. He called him in and said, son, I need to talk real talk with you. I need to talk real talk with you. He says, listen, I need you to promise me that you will not bury me here in Egypt. If I found favor in your eyes, and the reason why all of this attention, the way he's putting it, is because, right, he could have just called in and said, how we do, listen, y'all, don't take me to no nursing home. We'll just kind of say it, right? I don't want to go to no nursing home, right? We'll just throw something out. But Israel, right, called him in and says, if I found favor in your eyes, put your hand, which the hand on the thought on his thigh was a way that they would promise, right? That was because that came about in the family. You will see Isaac. You'll see you see it happen with Jacob and Isaac. You'll see now it's happening here with the hand, and you'll see it will continue to happen when Joseph. It'll happen with his son Manasseh and Ephraim. That's a ritual that the Israelites would do. The hand under the thigh, right under the thigh, and promise that you will show me kindness and faithfulness. Do not bury me in Egypt, right? And so that was his request. Let's get the next point. But when I rest with my fathers, carry me out of Egypt. So when I close my eyes, right, put down my hymn book, put down my Bible, my sword, when my time is up, when the chariot shows up, when y'all sang that long, slow song at the funeral, when you sang, I want to wear a crown. After you sang that song, he says, carry me, right, out of Egypt and bury me where they're buried. Bury me with my fathers, right, my ancestors. Take me there and bury me there, right? I will do as you say, he said. This is what Joseph said. Father, I'll do what you say, right? And so we'll see this same thing going to come up later on, okay? Where are we? Is that we got more on this chapter? Is that the swear to me, he said, right? He already said, I'll do as you say. Then he said, swear to me, right? Man, I ain't playing with you. Come on now. I need you to swear to me that you're going to get me out of here. I'm not playing. I know you committed to Pharaoh, and but I tell you, right, this brings up a thought that I want to share with you. Go ahead and put down what you want when you pass. Go ahead and put it down, right? Put it down, and people may get mad, and it may be me. I may be saying, man, man, they was a faithful servant. We wanted to do this and that, right? But if you put it in words, you already got it down, right? You already got it down. And so now your family have things that they could honor your requests, right? And this is really what that is. See, where we mess up, we don't say anything, and then we start getting mad at the family when somebody come in and say, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, because that's what I want to do, and I'm going to take them to my church. Even though they didn't go to your church, they went to another church. But I'm going to take them over to my church and all of that. So it just causes all sorts of issues. So that's why we need to do as Israel is doing. Listen, here's my burial plans, right? Here's my burial plans, right? I want to be buried in a black suit. I want to, I want to, I want some horses. I want some doves. Well, I just don't want all that. So again, make those arrangements. Swear to me, he said, and Joseph swore to him, and Israel worshiped as he leaned on the top of his staff. So again, this is an imagery I want you to see. So it says, right after he swore, he leaned and he worshiped on the top of his staff. In other words, he wasn't afraid to die. He wasn't afraid to die. He worshiped God, right? He worshiped God because he says, I could see my chariot coming. I can see my help is on the way. So he worshiped as he leaned on top of his staff, right? It wasn't, I'm not ready to go. I don't want to die. God, give me more time, right? He leaned over and he worshiped God, right? That was just a way of saying, God, I'm ready for whenever you decide to come and get me. I live my life, but here it is. I know where I'm going. When you know where you're going, you don't have to worry about anything else because I've already made peace, right? When I close my eyes, don't bury me here. And once he got that word, the text says he leaned over on Israel worship as he leaned on the top of his staff, right? So that's my hope, right? That's my hope for you and I, that no matter what, we can still worship God, even right? Even when it's time, right? But you're worshiping because you can look back over your life and say, God, thank you for what you've done, right? You can look back and see what God has done. So we can worship him for that, and then we can worship him for what God is doing right now, right? So again, we ought to be able to find a reason to worship God, okay? Let's keep going. All right, this is Genesis 48. Genesis 48, verse 1. Sometime later, Joseph was told, your father is ill. Don't get that time frame, right? Don't know, but I'll tell you, sometimes people, they know when it's time. They know when time is winding down, right? They know when it's getting close. So he did all of that. He got everything arranged. He got everything set up. Sometime later, Joseph was told, your father is ill. So he took his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, along with him, right? And that's a powerful piece because I remember when my father was passing, right? And I was trying to get to the hospital, right? Spend some time. You know how it is. You kind of want to get there and spend those last times with them and so forth. But I will encourage you, don't wait till they're sick to get there. And sometimes in our family, we wait till people get on the deathbed, then we'll crowd, right? While you still have that chance, let's spend that time, okay? But it says that Joseph was told that his father was ill. He took with his sons Manasseh and Ephraim along with him, right? So again, the patriarch of our family is passing. The sons are going, right? And I will always tell you, I didn't do a good job of this. I regret it now. that I did not keep my sons with me a lot of times when I went to go serve. Right? Before they got too old, before they start doing stuff, on their own, all of that. That's the mistake I made. Right? When we talk about family problems, the mistake I made is that I didn't get them a lot involved in a lot of stuff that I was doing. Right? I let them just y'all live y'all life, y'all go on. And I didn't want to really put that on them. I wanted to come natural. But here it is. I can look back on it now and say if I had to do it over again, I would have taken them with me more when I did things so they could see and understand the importance of being there because it's in that part of serving, learning while you're going. And so this was a very important time. Uh, Joseph took his son Manasseh and Ephraim because, again, last words are going to be spoken, and they needed to hear and they needed to be a part of this because our history is oral, right? We're speaking, right? So some things that we remember is because somebody told us. A lot of our history wasn't written down because we shared it orally because of the time during slavery and all of that. So again, this was a powerful moment. So I would encourage some of you all, right? When you have moments that will impact our sons, our grandsons, our granddaughters, our daughters, take them with you. Let them be able to experience. They may not understand now. They may look back and say, I remember when our grandfather Israel was going to pass. Okay? So let's see what verse 2. When Jacob was told, your son Joseph has come to you, Israel rallied his strength and set up on the bed, right? So again, this gives the imagery is that he was laying down, right? And when they told him Joseph is here, he went on and set on up. Yeah, you're right, Sister Taryn. Celebrate those moments. He went on and set on up, right? And I've seen that. I've seen that with I'll never forget when my Uncle Robert, was passing. I watched him in the room. We were there. My dad was there, and you just watched him try to call and talk to everyone, and it's almost as if when he got everybody that he talked to, then he laid down and took his rest. Right? And you have seen that when people say, call Sheila, call Stephanie, call Rodney, call Steve, right? They begin to call them, and as they come in, a loved one sometimes will try to get enough strength so they could share some words before they close their eyes. So that's what he did, right? The text says that Israel got a little more strength, right? Set up on the bed when Joseph came in. What did he say? Aren't you ready to hear? Here we go. Let's see what he said, verse 3. Jacob said to Joseph, God Almighty appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and there he blessed me. Right? He's giving him this history. Right? He's telling him. Right? This brings back memories. Right? This brings back memories. You want to try to get all of that wisdom you can get. Right? These words right here, he's not going to hear them again. So he's giving them some history. He says, God Almighty appeared to me in Luz in the land of Canaan, and there he blessed me. Right? Let's keep going. And he said to me, I'm going to make you fruitful and increase in number. Did we see that earlier, right? It says that they were being fruitful and increased. I showed you those two words, fruitful and increase. So here it is, verse 4. And he said to me, I'm going to make you fruitful and increase your numbers. I will make you a community of peoples. Now look at this. You, Jacob, I'm going to make you a community of peoples. Peoples is with an S. Not a people. I'm going to make you a community of peoples, right? Plural with S. And I will give this land as an everlasting possession to your descendants after you, right? He's speaking to them, and he's sharing this. Let me tell you, right? This gonna kind of connect with it, right? Sometimes when you hear stuff, you say, "No wonder I didn't know how that came about. Man, I didn't. That makes sense now, right?" So again, he's telling them, right? I'm going to make you fruitful and increase. He's already doing it. I will make you a community of people. You're already doing it. I will give this land as an everlasting possession to your descendants. He's already doing it, right? So we're seeing it manifest through what Joseph is doing there, right? Let's keep going. My heart is racing. I'm getting excited hearing this. So then he says in verse 5, now then, your two sons born to you in Egypt before I came to you here will be reckoned as mine, right? He's going to let them know, right? He said, I know y'all been up in Egypt, and I know your sons grew up here, but they're not Pharaohs, they're mine, right? So he's just letting them know, right? I know you've been here a while under Pharaoh, and you're dressing like the Egyptians. I get that, right? But I want them to know, right? I want them to know who they belong to. Meaning, right, it's not a slave mentality, it's kinship. It's understanding your relatives. I want you to know who your cousins are, right? When we have family reunions, my parents would say, we need to have a family reunion. I want you to know who your cousins are, right? That was important. We don't want you dating. That's key, right? But we want you to know who they are. So again, Ephraim and Manasseh will be mine, right? Just as Reuben and Simeon are mine. So he's talking about those are his brothers, Joseph's brothers, but he's just giving that clarity, right? Just as Reuben and Simeon are mine, Ephraim and Manasseh are mine, right? They don't belong to Pharaoh. They're part of what God is doing. Right? So again, I think he's stating that because, one, they need to know that, and two, just in case Pharaoh start tripping, thinking that they belong to him, they do not. Right? God has made peoples into from me, right? And so, just as Reuben and Simeon are mine, right? Let's get verse 6. Any children born to you after them will be yours. In the territory they inherit, they will be reckoned under the names of their brothers. Right? So he's hey now anyone else born under this, they will belong to you. But these two, while I'm living, they are connected to me. Right? It's going to make a little more sense as we go. We're going to really see how that pans out as well. So in the territory they inherit, they will be reckoned under the name of their brothers. So again, all of the siblings, the territory that they're in, it will be reckoned under the Israelites, under their brothers, Simeon, Reuben, so Judah, it's under the brothers, Benjamin. So all of those are under the names of their brothers, right? Okay, all right. Let's keep going. As I'm returning from Padan to my sorrow, Rachel died in the land of Canaan while we were still on the way, a little distance from Ethel. So I buried her there beside the road of Ethel, that is Bethlehem. So we all know he loved Rachel, right? We all know. We know he worked 7 more years for her hand. Right? We know he, even though he was tricked with Leah, he loved him some Rachel. And not only did he love them some Rachel, he loved them some Rachel kids too. Right? And so here it is. It's clear. He's saying, on the way I lost the heart. I lost my love. Rachel died in Canaan while we were on our way. A little distance there, right, in a place called Bethlehem. So he's giving that information. And why do you think he's giving him that information? I'll show it to you. It's right here in verse 8. When Israel saw the sons of Joseph, he asked, "Who are these?" Right? Who are these? And he's asking there because he wants to be buried back there with his ancestors. So when Israel saw the sons of Joseph, he asked, "Who are these?" Right? Now it gives us this idea. I know he's 147, right? So he brought the sons there. He ended up telling them, Ephraim and Manasseh are going to belong to me, right? But then, right, it seems as if the scripture is kind of giving an indication that he started this dialogue without even asking who are they at the beginning. So he says all of this, and then he says, when Israel saw the sons of Joseph, he asked, "Who are these?" What's the next verse? "They are the sons God has given me here," Joseph said to his father. And Israel says, "Bring them to me so I may bless them." Right? So I don't know if there's something wrong with the eyesight. I don't know if he could see them good. I don't know, right? But he shared all of that without knowing who they were. They heard him. They heard him say, "These are my sons," right? These are my grandfather, right? We have a Deacon Kennard, Tony Kennard in our church. Oftentimes he talks about his grandfather, O.D. Hollins, who's a pastor at Lions Chapel, right? He talks about his grandfather, right? He spent time with his grandfather, right? I know Mr. Mann has his grandson there, right? So you guys are blessed if you're able to spend time with your grandfather, right? I didn't get a chance to ever meet my grandparents. They were deceased, but some of you all have. And so verse 9, he made this statement before before he knew who they were. Then he asked, "Who are they?" Verse 8, "They are the sons that God gave me while I was here," Joseph said to his father. Then Israel said, "Bring them to me so I might bless them, so that I may bless them," right? So again, I don't really know how much time Ephraim and Manasseh had around their grandfather up until this time, because again, that they spent a lot of time there, and you know how kids are. Kids can be so funny. If they ain't been around you in a while, it take them a while to start kind of warming up and all of that. And they've been in Egypt. That's a whole new crew, even though they're relatives. You know how some of y'all city cousins act different than the country cousins. The country cousins want to just hang with the country cousins. The city cousins want to hang with the city cousins, right? And so I don't really know if they got to spend a lot of time, but when they showed up this time, he said, "Hey, your sons Manasseh, Ephraim belong to me." Then he asked, "Who is this with you?" "These are the sons God gave me while I'm here. Bring them to me, right? So I can bless them." That's just not a word. He's gonna bless them, right? When elders during that time gave the last blessing, it meant something. It wasn't just a good talk. Now let me just kind of tell y'all about I'm getting ready to go. I'm getting something, so get my truck. It wasn't. It was a blessing, right? So verse 10. Now Israel's eyes were failing because of old age. So that explains some of what we're seeing, right? His eyes were failing, right? And he could hardly see. Get this. This going to trip you out. This going to trip you out. So Joseph brought his sons close to him, and his father kissed them and embraced them, right? Kissed them and embraced them. His eyes was failing, right? Because of old age, right? What happened in verse 11? Israel said to Joseph, I never expected to see your face again. I never thought I'd see you again. Right? This is so amazing. I never would have thought I would see you again. And now God has allowed me to see your children too. I just see him sitting back, looking at them and saying, God, you're amazing. I didn't expect to see his face, but not only I'm seeing his face, I'm able to see his kids. Right? That's that trip that the grandparent says, I want to make this trip. It may be my last one. Right? I want to have a family reunion. I don't know how many times I may get to do it. I want to go. I want to go. I want to be there. So he's saying, I never expected to see your face again. And now God has allowed me to see your children. And so what a powerful piece. Okay? Let's look at the next verse. Then Joseph removed them from Israel's knees, right? And bowed down with his face to the ground. Then Joseph removed them, right? So the image I'm seeing here is that they were, bent over on his knees. It was bent over on his knees. And so what he did was Joseph removed them from his knees. He bowed down with his face to the ground, right? So again, he's showing them how to honor their grandfather. He's showing them how to honor their grandfather, right? And sometimes we just let our grandkids, what, yeah, huh, what, huh, right? And we just parents just be like, okay, but again, he's teaching them how to honor him, bow down and honor their father, right? I tell you what, y'all remember Dr. Homer Avery as all soft spoken and all of that, but I never shall forget. One day I looked, my mother, I wanted to go skating, and my mother said, no, baby, we got some stuff to do. And I rolled my eyes. I don't know where he came from, but that wasn't a holy lick he gave me. That was a lick that let me know, don't you ever roll your eyes. And so again, what it did, it taught me, right? Don't you ever do that again, right? Guess what? I never did it again. So sometimes we have to really, and I'm not telling you to beat your kids, so hear me now. I'm just saying we have to teach kids how to honor, right, our elders. Honor you, parents, right? Because sometimes we can say, no, don't say that to your mother, your father, your grandmother, whatever. That's all right. We're good. That's all right. They're okay. No, it ain't okay. Right? Teach them how to honor those that have gone before. Okay? Let's get the next verse. Joseph took both of them, Ephraim on his right toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh on his left toward Israel's right hand, and brought them close to him. So Ephraim was on his right, Manasseh on his left toward Israel's right hand, and brought them close to them. Yeah, he was given. Yeah, so look at this. This is gonna be powerful. This is gonna be powerful. So why is the Bible telling you what side was on? Who was on what side? Because it's gonna really reveal to us why. Why did he put one on one side and the other? Because again, normally the blessing is on the right hand, And so when we see it shape out like this, the blessing is normally older on the right hand, but again, this is going to really show us something here uh, that we can see because Manasseh was the oldest, right? So we're going to see Manasseh was the oldest. So we look at this first son Manasseh, right? Ephraim and his son Manasseh, although Manasseh was the oldest. So Ephraim was on the right towards Jacob's left hand. So Ephraim was the youngest. He's on the left side. Manasseh is the oldest. He's on the right side toward Israel's right hand. Because when we lay hands, right, it's the right hand of blessing, right? Scripture says that he's sitting at the right hand of the Father. The right hand is associated with God's strength. Absolutely. So, Mary Jo, the right hand is associated with God's strength and his favor. So it says now, Jesus sitting on the right hand of the Father. Right? So the right side, right, Ephraim on the right toward Jacob's left. Manasseh was on the left toward Israel's right. I'm going through all that detail because you're going to find out why. Verse 14. But Israel reached out his right hand and put it on Ephraim's head. Now get this. Instead of, right, him reaching down, blessing Manasseh, he reaches across and blesses Ephraim. Though he was the younger, crossing his arm, he put his hand, left hand, on Manasseh's head, even though Manasseh was the firstborn. So pretty much, he crossed hands and blessed him. Why is that so significant? Because the right hand blessing goes to the elder son. Well, Bible readers, you remember why is this so important? Didn't Jacob get blessed and he was the youngest? You remember Esau came in and says, your birthright has been given to your brother, right? He says, don't you got one more? Remember Isaac said, no, I don't have one more. The blessing was given to your brother. So the blessing, the right hand, should have went to Manasseh. Yeah, the younger will gain favor. You're absolutely right, Sister Mary Jo. So here we have again family problem, right? I don't think he was trying to do it. I think, as Brother Herman would say, God is in control. Right? His eyes was failing him. Right? Somebody gonna say he just messed up because he was a blind man, right? I believe, right, that how he reached his hand out to bless the to bless the younger, crossed hands, that God was in control. Now, even though that was a mistake, according to what Joseph and others would say, right, God was still in control. So here we go again. Family stuff just keep repeating. It just keeps repeating, right? He ended up taking his brother's birthright. Now, you can say accidentally, reached out. But again, Brother Herman, I think it's because God was still in control. Even though, right, the blessing was given to Jacob, God was still in control. Even though the hand was switched on the sons, God was still in control. You know what? Let's get one more verse. We'll stop. Then he blessed Joseph and said, may the God before whom my fathers Abraham, Isaac walked faithfully, the God who has been my shepherd all my life to this day. Right? There's some more of that verse. Okay, that was okay. So let's go back one more to 15. Then he blessed Joseph and said, "May the God before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked faithfully, the God whom has been my shepherd all my life to this day," right? So he said, "May the God I've served, that my father and my grandfather walked faithfully with, the God that been with me all my life as a shepherd, may he continue to watch over you," right? Moses would say, may the light of God shine, may the peace of God shine and rest on you, right? May God cause his face to shine upon you. Right? That is a priestly blessing. May the Father, may our God who walked with your father walk with you. May the God that walked with your grandfather walk with you. Okay? All right? We'll get 16 and we'll put a bow on it. The angel who has delivered me from all harm, may he bless these boys. May they be called by my name and the names of my fathers, Abraham and Isaac, and may they increase greatly on this earth. Right? Can I go ahead and tell you, they did. I'm going on, I couldn't even help it. I ain't gonna even let you wait. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, they did. They increased in number. We'll find out in Joshua. They say, we got too many people for this land. We're too numerous. You didn't give us enough land. Right? So they did grow and increase. So we'll stop there. I thank God for the opportunity to be able to share the at a greater level. And again, our goal is to raise $20,000 to again to pay down on that debt. We're there, but we need your help to be consistent. So some of you all gave last year, right? It's a new year, right? If you given last year, that's last year. Now we are scheduled for this year. So March, the third and fourth Sunday of March, we are looking forward to doing great things. We need your help. We need every partner. We need if you are coming and receiving a word, if you're participating, if you're just in the building, you need to do your part. If you're benefiting online from the ministry, we want you to sow a seed because we are believing God for great things. So please, please, please begin to sow your seed. We're asking all of our partners to do the best they can to help us reach our goal of $20,000. Okay? And so again, can't wait to be with you on Sunday as God shared a word with us on Sunday. So can't wait to share. Minister Latrice did a great job last week. Got a break there, but I'm looking forward to sharing the word coming up Sunday. Okay? Bring a friend with you. People, for whatever reason, are finding more things to do. They're working, they're doing other things, but God is still a priority in my life. I hope that you would say the same thing. So if we haven't seen you in a while, please come back home. If you've gotten to where you've been working and you're finding other things, listen, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all things will be added unto you. You're going to need God. Don't wait until it's too late. So please come join us. We're praying for a young lady, one of our partners that have severe burn. We want to pray for her. So I just ask your prayers for her as she heals. I want to give family's name. They didn't give me that permission to do that, but I want to let you know. Please continue to pray for her as she recovers. So if you want to sow a seed tonight, please do that. We have ways that you can do that. You can give through PayPal. Again, just put your seed if you're doing your tithe, if you're doing offering, or if you're doing church anniversary. Just put in the notes. Our finance director will make sure to get credited to how it should be. Cash App, Venmo, Giveify, all these ways, and then you can also give in person. So we're really excited about your partnership with us to do kingdom work. Until we are able to see you and worship with you again, we look forward to being with you on Sunday. May God bless you. May God